Howdy all and welcome to Lex Lives. I think it's time we played a little Agrarian Skies. Alright. So, I had a bit of a mishap apparently with my sound. And, so this is recorded separately. I'm not sure I've ever done one of these before, but, yeah, I was working on, no, I wasn't working. I was playing on my PS3 with some friends last night, and so I had switched my headset over to my PS3 and was using it there. And so apparently when I switched it back, and I checked to make sure that both the microphone and the headphones were set as my primary sound device, apparently my recording software didn't realize that I meant I wanted to use my microphone as my recording device, so it didn't use it. And so I've got 2 episodes recorded today with no sound from me. And so, yeah. So what I'm trying to do here is I was reading in some of the forums trying to figure out where to get soybeans from. And I still don't have any luck with potatoes, but apparently you can use a scythe to cut down a bunch of grass at once instead of one at a time. So I thought I'd make a scythe to speed up the process of making the seeds come out, I guess. And yeah, see, I did. I've never made a scythe before, and so I realize it's a Tinker's construct, or Tinker's construct. I always want to say Tinkerer, but it's Tinker's construct. And so I couldn't remember how to do it. Couldn't remember at all. And for some reason, it did not register this first time here with the cobblestone. And I don't understand what happened because it just wouldn't do it. So I so I tried several different setups here, trying to figure out which slot it goes into, because I'm not really that familiar with this mod. I know we went through it way back at the beginning because it's some of the starting quest stuff, but I don't normally use Tinker's construct. So I decided, since it's a stone head, I would go ahead and grab some stone. And I tried with the axe, and so the axe head with cobblestone worked fine. And you saw I put 32 cobblestone in there, and it did not register. And so I just, I couldn't get through the door either. I don't know what's going on with that door. I just couldn't get through it. But all my stone is out at my base, or my magic place out here. And so I went ahead and headed out here, grabbed some stone out of the chest, and then we'll head back and try stone instead of cobblestone, just in case. I don't know. So I put in my scythe pattern, put in my stone. It took the 7 pieces, I think. I put a whole stack there, 29 of them. I mean, it's not a stack, but bam, look at that. I got a stone scythe head. And then I decided to try it again with the cobblestone, and it works this time. Go figure that out. It didn't work last time. Works fine this time. I don't know what's going on there. So we come out here and check my inventory. I need some gold. I brought gold with me just for this purpose. Got a little bit of manulum, so I'm gonna need to get some more of that. I couldn't remember how to do gold. I couldn't remember how to use this thing. I swear you can just throw it in the top. I swear you can, but it wouldn't work for me. And so that didn't work. It wouldn't melt down. I thought maybe it needed more lava. I wasn't sure. And it's not melting down. And so I tried to get my gold back, and all I managed to do was put blood in here. Plunk, blood. So then I tried throwing them one at a time. I couldn't remember what button was my throw. And they go in, or the first one went in and disappeared, so I thought maybe this was working, and just went ahead and threw all 16 gold bars in there. And nothing. I am pretty sure you put blood in there by standing in there. I don't understand. Is it gold blocks? Do you have to throw it in blocks? Is that the trick? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might be blocks. The individual nuggets, though, did not work. And so I come down here to get some lava. I realize I don't have a way to get lava, so I'll grab one of these tanks and then use it next to my lava generator here to get a tank full of lava, so I can easily get some lava in a bucket. The tank of sewage that I have there came out of the... I don't even know how it got over there, but it came out of the box. Or no, it came from up here, actually. On top. Somehow on top, the vacuum hopper sucked it up. Which is weird, because all that stuff was being done from below, so I don't know how it managed to suck it up to the floor above it, because the vacuum hopper attached to my mining system, or whatever you want to call it, it can't even suck stuff from the other side of the treasure chest, let alone from a whole floor below. Alright, so get a bunch of lava in here. Still nothing, so this is clearly not working. I try to get some out again. Still no luck. Just not happening. I've been trying to get potatoes. I put down the larger spawn area out there, and so at night I get a lot of spawns, but I am still not finding any zombies carrying anything, as far as I can tell. That may be turned off. I'm not sure. I really don't know how to get potatoes, and it's really funny because I went online and there's a thread about soybeans and potatoes, and I specifically said, where do you get soybeans and potatoes in Agrarian Skies? And they're like, yeah, why would you ever need to kill anything in the game for meat when you can just use tofu to make everything, which comes from soybeans? And so the reply was, well, you need wheat or something to get bread. And like, oh, I make potato bread. I don't know what that has to do with animals, but whatever. And I'm like, I can't get soybeans or potatoes. I'm just going to have to stick with my cow-based burger. I've never had tofu in real life, I don't think. Maybe in a Chinese restaurant I've had some. But I don't think I've really ever eaten tofu. I'm sure it's okay. Alright, so now that I've got my my gold cooking, and I can put down my stone scythe head. I was trying to scan it with my thermometer, wasn't happening. And that's going to take a couple of seconds here to cook down the gold and give me gold on top. I also grabbed some ardite and some cobalt so I can make some more manulum. I can't see it, so I don't see what it says. See, on here it turns in blocks of gold when it's melting them, so maybe you have to put blocks in there. I don't know. And then I just added more blood to the mix. I'll make some blood gold. That comes from a really good book series, Blood Gold. I'm sure they've used it more than just that book series. There's a funny part in there, though, where this princess, her people are known to be greedy. And so her father, she goes and asks for her father's troops because they're getting ready to fight this huge war. And her father refuses to commit his troops to her husband's war, even though they're going to get overwhelmed by the bad guys if they don't commit. He doesn't care. He's showing his power and how he doesn't bow to the whims of his child. And so yeah, I don't have enough stuff in here to make this. And so she goes out to talk to his, or he has a seizure disorder, and she knows it. And so she makes him so angry he has a seizure, which will leave him like fairly comatose for a little while. And it's not deadly or anything, but she sends him into a seizure, and his doctors come in and give him his medicine and stuff, and then she goes out and talks to his troops, and so she offers them money, and because her people are known to be very greedy, the soldiers all leave with her, which is pretty funny. She used blood gold. What's the other one? There's another one where they make runes out of it, but I don't think it's blood gold in that one. So fermenter. Fermenter is the next thing that I wanted to work on while that stuff was melting. One of the quests, I completed a few quests, but since last episode, and I did like a bucket of redstone and cryotheum and a few of those. And one of the buckets that it requires is ethanol. So to make ethanol, we got to have a fermenter. And so I went ahead and made the gears, which was awesome because I already had all the supplies ready, and I can just grab the gears. And then I have enough Tinker's alloy or bronze, whatever, to go ahead and make the casing for the middle. And then we get the pieces in here. We get the fermenter. Fermenter is actually something I use quite a bit. Not anymore, but I used to use it a lot. And so it requires power from either RF or MJ if you're using the redstone conduit. Redstone conduit can convert RF to MJ if a machine needs it. It does not convert the other way though, so I get this lined up here, and we'll put a block away so we have room for the redstone conduit. And it also needs water, so I'm going to have to get the supplies to bring some water to it. I used to use this mod called Steve's Car all the time, and it's not in a lot of the mod packs I've been playing lately, and so Steve's Car, you can use it to build like little trains. They go on the tracks that you use like minecarts on. I guess you build minecarts with it, not trains. But I'd use one that chops down trees to get saplings, and and because it runs on like charcoal and stuff, I'd set up so that it would chop down the trees, and then it would automatically feed the logs into furnaces, and it would turn the wood into charcoal, and then it could use the charcoal to power the train. And so the only thing I wanted out of it was saplings, and so once it got enough saplings in the train, it would dump the rest of them out, and so I would feed all the saplings into a fermenter, because what a fermenter does is it turns organic material like saplings and wheat and stuff into this stuff called biomass, which is like a biofuel, but it's not biofuel. It's called biomass. And so for the fermenter to be able to do that, it has to have power, it has to have water. I just flew out here to grab some wheat, and I've got wheat right in my inventory. It has to have power, water, and a fuel source of some kind of fertilizer. And so first I'm going to have to connect it to water, if I can get up top here. Need some fluid duct. I have tons of that. And so then I count out 1, 2, 3 from the pipe, and then we drop down, and then it's 1, 2, 3 over from the pipe, right where that piece of oak is hanging down here. But I don't have my hatchet on my inventory. There's my hatchet. Alright, we'll cut that out, and then we can use the fluid duct. Except I gotta right click to be able to make that to work. I've only got the one aqueous accumulator over there, so I'm gonna have to make another aqueous accumulator. I guess I could run the pipe all the way over from over there, but it'd just be easier if I make a new one. I can put it right in my fish tank here, my mariculture fish tank thing that I was trying to do. Never managed it though. I wanted to play with the mariculture. Oh yeah, I don't want to use steel. That's a waste of steel. I wanted to play with mariculture because you can make fish that give you dyes, and so I was gonna try and get my dye that way. I think salt also was something I was gonna try and get from mariculture, until I realized it's a really easy recipe in Pam's stuff. I forget what the Pam mod is. And I'll use my bucket here, and probably make a. Can you make a bucket out of aluminum? Yes. Yep, make a bucket out of aluminum. I wasn't sure. I don't use aluminum for anything, so might as well make a bucket out of it. But yeah, so the mariculture there. I'm not a big fan of the way some of these mods work with like the tree breeding and the. I haven't done the butterfly stuff, but the tree breeding and the bees and now this mariculture that I've tried. It's fine that you need different temperatures and stuff. I'm fine with that, but a lot of them make it really difficult to be able to use like basic things to even get started. And so I remember the first time I did bees, I actually used my base was in a desert, and so I couldn't even get started because it was too hot and too dry, and so I had to move my bees outside of my base where I wanted to keep them, and I had to build a whole second base just so I could get into a plains biome. And what the problem was is that I wasn't in the desert, I was in the savanna, and the savanna was too hot and dry, and I think next to me was the swamp, which was too hot and wet. And I needed just normal to get started, and I couldn't find anywhere that was normal. And it drove me crazy until I finally found a little spot in between the two, and it was tiny. It was just this tiny little slice of biome, because we're using Biomes of Plenty, I think, and it had done some weird biome shapes, but yeah. So yeah, I hate how you have to have the perfect temperature to get some of that stuff to work. But with the Steve's cart, what you do is you build your mining carts, and so I did a mining cart that would cut down the trees and power itself by making charcoal. You couldn't use the solar panels because the trees would block the sun, and then your mining cart would stop. And then the fermenter runs off of fertilizer, and I'm making the pieces for my scythe here, but it runs off fertilizer, and the fertilizer can be the forestry fertilizer or the forestry mulch. I think you get better results out of the fertilizer, but the fertilizer itself requires you to go mining, and the mulch you can automate it. And so I'd make 2 Steve's cart because Mine Factory Reloaded wasn't in the pack when I figured out how to do this, and so I would use a moistener, which is one of the devices in forestry, and you feed in your seeds and wheat, and it turns the wheat into mulch and the seeds into mycelium. And so you'd send the mycelium into like a void pipe to get rid of it, and then the mulch you'd send to your fermenter or fermenters. I'd usually wind up with a bunch of them. And then your tree farm is sending the saplings as the thing you're turning into fuel, because saplings are the best source for fuel. And then using the mulch, which, like I said, isn't as good as fertilizer, but you can set it up to automatically make it. And so once you got that setup started, when I first got into modded Minecraft, that was it. I never had to do anything again but add to it occasionally. And so I'd wind up with like, I don't know, 4 or 5 Steve Cart tree farms, and I just have this big giant wheat farm that combined itself and fed into like a pair of moisteners that were creating the mulch to go to my wall of fermenters. My favorite one at one point, people were having problems coming to my base, and so to try and cut down on the lag they were getting, I stripped all my power production out of my base that I could. I mean, you can't strip all of it, but and so there's the tesseracts in thermal expansion that lets you transfer, like at the time, MJ and liquids and items and stuff. And so I actually moved my entire power system out of my base, and so my farm would still be sending the trees and the saplings and the wheat and the seeds, but they would send it off to this separate base I had that was like 300 blocks from my normal base, or maybe even farther than that. I don't remember. And I just had rows and rows of biogas engines, which are the forestry engine that runs off of biomass, and you put like a bucket of lava in them, and then they just run forever off the biomass. They can run on other things, and so my entire base basically ran off of that. Inside the base itself, I'd have some I call them lava trees. I know you can put pumps in the nether, but I hate having to move the nether pumps all the time. And so because my my biomass system was self-sustaining, this is making fertilizer for the fermenter, sand and apatite. And because it was self-sustaining, I then just used the MJs from that to power magma crucibles, and had them fed with cobblestone, just like I'm doing on this island here. And then that would give me lava to run into geothermal generators, and the geothermal generators then would give me EU. I also would convert some of the biomass using, I think it's a still, but it's an industrial craft still and not the one that we're about to use here, because it was more efficient. You had to it was so crazy, that system. The industrial craft still is like this multi-block giant machine, and you couldn't feed it liquid. You had to feed it canisters of liquids, and so I had to get the canisters flowing through it, and so the canisters would empty out into the I had to feed the liquid into a liquid transposer, and then the liquid transposer would send out the canisters into the still. The still would empty the canisters, and then I would take the empty canisters from the still and feed them back into the liquid transposer. And so it was just this big ring of canisters just constantly being filled and emptied. And then the distillery, I guess it was a distillery, not a still, would convert it. The ratio when I first got into it was like for 1 bucket of biomass, or no, for 10 buckets of biomass, you would get 1 bucket of ethanol, and or biofuel at the time. Biofuel, is that right? I think so. And you would use that in a certain type of EU generator. I don't remember what it was called at the moment. A bio generator, maybe. And biomass would give you could run just straight biomass, but it wouldn't give you as much EU as the biogas or the ethanol. And well, the distillery, it was 10 buckets of biomass to 1 bucket of ethanol from the still. Although that, I think they got reduced down to like 4 buckets to 1. At the distillery, though, was 3 buckets to 1 instead of 10 buckets to 1 when I first started. And so I went ahead and switched over to that. And so I ran my whole base off of that stuff. And then in 1.6, thermal expansion changed to RF, and the whole system doesn't work at the moment. Although I heard forestry is switching over to well, I didn't hear. I read today that forestry is switching over to RF shortly. Apparently, everybody's switching over to RF shortly, which is bizarre. I don't know. And I mean, I don't know what programming went into it, but it's funny to me that what I read was that nobody that is it Buildcraft does the MJs, and they wanted everybody to rewrite some of their code so it would work with MJs, and so thermal expansion, those guys didn't want to, so they just made their own power systems. They weren't beholden to Buildcraft's MJs, and now I read that Forestry and Railcraft and Buildcraft are all switching over to RF, which is funny because originally it was Buildcraft wanted everybody to switch over to MJs, and I'm happy because I hate having to try and use all these mods together with the split up. But if that happens, then I'll be able to switch back to my system because I like the way it works. And with Mindfactor Reloaded, if that's in the pack, and that's not always in the pack, but Mindfactor Reloaded works really well for tree farms and crop farms, because in 1.5 they updated. Was it 1.5 or was it 1.6? 1.6 Steve's carts got updated, so they now have durability, and so you have to go out occasionally and fix the blades with like diamonds and stuff unless you upgrade through some pretty horrendous upgrades. I mean, I'm fine with the upgrades. I still like Steve's carts. It's one of my favorite mods ever. But yeah, here's the still working. Built the still, fed it with the biomass, and now it'll turn it into ethanol. And the ethanol will let me complete another quest. I kind of got off on a tangent there with my whole Steve's cart thing. I miss my Steve cart setup. It's still my favorite way to get power. But yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get the scythe together. I think it must need an upgraded machine. Like, there's a tool forge made with steel blocks and stuff, so I'm gonna have to make one of those. I just don't have the clay on hand to make the bricks that I think I need, because it needs like 2 seared bricks, and I don't have them. And then blocks of steel and like a workbench, and I've got everything but the seared brick. So and then maybe I'll be able to make my scythe to try and get the soybeans that I need to complete those quests. Yeah, look at all these guys and no potatoes. I like using the creepers to try and blow them up. This thing here goes crazy sometimes. My thumbnail is actually going to be when I first logged on today to play this, and it was just full of bad guys, just full to the top. Ridiculous. Like that whole group you just saw right there, were probably all standing on this when they first spawned, and so that's what it looked like when I first logged in today, was just all these zombies and skeletons and stuff standing on that little platform. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. My setup here, I'm not sure what's going wrong with it, but I don't think it's breeding the chickens, honestly. The chickens are just like running around like crazy, like they're being hit or something. I don't know if maybe the killing section is too close to them and they're being affected by it. I mean, the harvester apparently is pulling feathers off the chickens anyway, so I don't need to kill them, I guess. But yeah, it's not working the way I wanted it to. It's just wasting my seeds, basically. Alright, there's my bucket of ethanol, made from my still. I gotta find my book. There's my book. Alright, and that is a Go With The Flow quest. And bucket of ethanol, and there we go. That one is done. So, most of the flashing ones that are left, except for DNA, which I'm not sure where I've got to get it from, seed oil, which takes some more forestry machines that I don't have built yet. Most of those are like 10,000 to do. But I got mob essence and cryothium and biofuel, redstone, sewage, ethanol, mob essence. Honey's going to require bees, which I don't have ready yet. I did the liquid meat one. But the rest of them are like 10,000 buckets of ethanol and 10,000 buckets of... Actually, that's 100,000 buckets. And so that's all stuff that's going to take automation, which I guess I'd like to complete once, but I don't know if I will. That's a lot of work just to... I mean, we're still waiting for that ice thing to fill up. The Monster Hunter one that I'm working on, I completed the common mobs. 2 Endermen, 10 skeletons, 10 zombies, 10 creepers. Now I'm on to witches, slimes, and brainy zombies. I have not seen a slime or a witch, but brainy zombie will probably get completed pretty quickly. I don't know about the witch, though. That seems like it's going to be a difficult one to manage. If I can ever get these zombies to drop potatoes, I have not seen potatoes yet, so I don't know. Look at all these creepers. Not sure what I'm wearing for armor, but I take like... I'm wearing that rocket pack. I take like no damage from creepers with the gear I have on. Well, I think this is about where we finish here, so hopefully next time I can get a little bit more done with some of the quests I've been working on. And the magic stuff, I didn't work on the magic stuff today. My altar is getting pretty close to being ready for tier 2. You can see I've got just a little bit over half of it done here. When that gets finished, then we'll be able to start. I think it's tier 2 you need. It might be tier 3 though, before you can start using animals as your source of blood. Because right now I can't use the animals. And so I have to use my own blood. But I'd like to get that all connected together instead of... Aw, man, he made me hit my little plant. Stupid zombie. Alright, well, it's gotta be getting pretty close here, so click like if you like, subscribe to be sure and catch the next one. I'll talk to you later.